the tail of the tape, one of the numbers that jumps out at you, and we've made reference to it before, is Mendez being 34 years of age, and he's coming into this fight off a 19-month layoff. So that's a big question mark right there. He hopes that he still has a lot left in the gas tank.
Here's Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Well, fans, from the Mohegan Sun Arena, Premier Boxing Champions presents the co-main event of the evening, brought to you by Mayweather Promotions, TGB Promotions, and Showtime. Introducing our three judges, scoring from ringside: from New York, Don Ackerman; from Connecticut, Glenn Feldman; and from New Jersey, Steve Weisfeld. Introducing our referee in charge of the action, our third man in the ring, Danny Schiavone. All right, fans, here we go with the co-main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled. Super lightweights in the ring. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the red corner to my left, wearing black trunks with multicolor trim. He is fighting out of Yonkers, New York, by way of San Juan de la Maguana in the Dominican Republic. He weighed in at the super lightweight limit of 140 pounds with a record of 25 wins, 5 losses, 3 draws, and 1 no decision. He has 12 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Here's the former IBF junior lightweight champion of the world, introducing Argenis La Tormenta Mendez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner in this 10-round co-main event, entering the ring wearing black and purple trunks, fighting out of and representing Brooklyn, New York. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 140 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 11 wins, no losses. 5 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the undefeated, highly skilled young contender, introducing Richardson Hitchins. And once again, a referee in charge. Now to give instructions, Danny Schiavone.
Come on, bring it in, guys. All right, fellas, you were given your instructions in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Keep the bout clean, touch them up. Good luck.
Richardson Hitchins, one of the up-and-comers, and again, plenty of support from Floyd Mayweather. Very high on Richardson Hitchins, and Richardson Hitchins has sparred with Gervonta Davis, so they are watching with vested interest. Richardson Hitchins getting ready to face his toughest test in a former champion in Argenis Mendez. Danny Schiavone, the referee with 18 years of pro experience. Hitchins in the black and purple, Mendez in the black with white, red, and green. First of 10 scheduled rounds.
You mentioned that Mendez wants to be a little more aggressive than he has been. He is primarily a counterpuncher, but I don't think he feels like he can take that posture continually in this fight and win it.
Yeah, and Hitchins, a pure boxer, does have a good right hand with the counter punch, and of course Abner will want to try to use that range.
Yes, this is a really good fight for Richardson. The step-up fight, battle-tested fighter and Mendez, and we all know, guys, that TMT Mayweather Promotions, they test their fighters with really tough opponents, and this is one of them.
And of course, Floyd Mayweather telling Hitchins that he thinks he's one of the best in the gym already, and has high hopes. And Al, of course, no pressure, no diamonds, but it's still just his 12th professional fight.
Yeah, he's it is only his 12th fight, and they said that they think a few fights down the road he could be fighting for a title. That may be ambitious, but we have to find out at this juncture how he does against fighters like Mendez.
And when he trained in Vegas, he did so with a 135-pound titleist Devin Haney, as Hitchins looking to establish the jab, putting together combinations. And, we know that Mendez isn't always the most aggressive or busiest.
What you have to like about what Hitchins has done so far is he's not just using the jab, which we know he has a good jab. He's coming with that right hand behind it. Not everyone is getting in there, but he's using that punch well.
Yeah, and over 34% of his landed punches coming into this fight were body shots.
Yeah, definitely blinding Mendez with that jab, with that fast jab, and then coming with that right hand, like you mentioned now. And Mendez, Mo, like you mentioned, he is a slow starter. He tends to go to the rope sometimes. But at the end of the day, he's got the experience, and he's been in the ring with, tough opponents.
That he has. As he won a title years ago. He scored a knockout victory over Juan Carlos Salgado in their rematch. That was 7 years ago. So again, at the age of 34, here to see what kinds of answers Richardson Hitchins can give to the questions that need to be asked of him at this stage of his career. And Hitchins told us, guys, if it's slow-paced, it's going to favor him.
He's been able to do enough in his first round, for sure. And Mendez only thrown 9 punches.
Hands up, use your feet.
Might be a shoe size.
Let him out! Let him out! Watch your heads, man. Watch your heads. Keep it clean. Let's go.
We will take a look at the keys to victory for these men. We'll start with Richardson Hitchins. Everything starts with the jab for him, and he did use it very effectively. He throws 24 per round. He used that very well in the first round. Now, he can steal rounds from the low-volume Mendez, as he did probably in round 1 by throwing combinations, and he did that. Now, staying focused against Kevin Johnson, he feels like he lost some of his focus later in the fight. As for Mendez, he wants to keep his hands up. Sometimes he lets them get low, and Hitchins' hand speed can take advantage of that. Not a volume puncher, as we said. He gives rounds away like he did the last one. And he has a good counter left hook. It's very powerful. It's the one that got Juan Salgado out of there with 1 punch. Can he land it tonight?
Keep it clean, fellas.
Round number 2, we are scheduled for 10. At 140 pounds, Mendez comes up and delivers that lead right hand, blocked by Hitchins, who fires off that piston-like jab, 3 jabs in a row, and Hitchins doing a good job of avoiding Mendez' attack like a matador.
Mendez against Juan Heraldez, another Mayweather promotions fighter, in a fight he had with Heraldez, a draw. He averaged 39 punches per round. He's going to go some to get to that tonight because he's been way below so far.
And you talk about a rare occurrence, as we mentioned, Mendez, last 2 fights were draws.
Yeah.
Given the hype when he turned pro there, he is considered a bit of an underachiever. His manager, Ricardo Salazar, saying that his inconsistency has been all mental. He says he needs some sort of chaos for him to get his act together. Well, Hitchins hopes to make tonight a chaotic one for him.
Mendez needs to take a little bit more chances, be more aggressive. I mean, we know that Hitchins is not the most powerful fighter out there, only 5 knockouts. But one thing I do like about Richardson is that he says, I'm not crazy knockout power, but hey, I always like to be dominant in my fights.
Let's
and
go.
that
Watch
right
your
now
hands,
he
fellas.
is.
Clash of heads.
Yeah, it's the second time they've had it. We talked about the jabs, and you can see already Hitchins doing a very good job with it. Mendez not getting it home, and Hitchins throwing a lot and landing. And I'll tell you, that head is getting right to the eyebrows of Mendez from Hitchins.
Hitchins mentored by the Mensa-level ring IQ of Floyd Mayweather, and you do see the signs of what Mayweather's education is having on Hitchins. Of course, you always want to be your own individual, but we can definitely see signs that speed, the jab, although Mendez able to effectively counter there.
Mendez not being more aggressive. He knows he has to be. It's not his normal posture, and you can see Hitchins with good lateral movement, but this is what Mendez needs to do.
Hitchins looking to use his footwork, maybe trying to bait Mendez into the corner, does counter with the left hook.
Now that's what Hitchins doesn't want to do. I'm sorry,
No, please.
He doesn't want to get in a left hook trading contest with Mendez.
Keep it clean.
Because that will not serve him well.
What is it they say, Abner, about hooking with a hooker?
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but Hitchins doing it great from the outside. But just there where you mentioned, Al, he hooked with the hooker.
Time!
Good. Again. Sit.
Let me just
Relax, relax. You see, when you get close there, the feint, go to the body first, though. Don't reach for the head. First thing you hit, you drop it.
There was this moment where it appears there was a clash of heads. Mendez actually got hit in the chin with that and is claiming that he got hit in the eye. So, yeah, that would be like when you get an offensive foul in the NBA and you sell it.
It's fake news. Fake news.
Let's put it this way. Vlade Divac is watching and approves of that. Good right hand there, and they both trade hooks. But it was Mendez's that was, in fact, better. That's the one punch Mendez has power-wise that Hitchins has to be concerned about.
It looks like Mendez put a little theater in the theater of truth here as we begin round 3, scheduled for 10. Richardson Hitchins using lateral footwork, and is he trying? I guess he's trying to bait Mendez in.
Break! No punches, no punches.
Now,
Step back.
Speaking of theater, you know, Hitchins went to the Mahalia Jackson School of the Arts in New York, where he majored in where he was involved in theater. You know, of course, Mahalia Jackson, one of the greatest gospel singers of all time. I know you know about her.
And you are the sultan of segues. Well done, my friend. 30 seconds gone here in the third. And it is a boxing clinic by Hitchins, but Mendez doing what he has to do, Mares, trying to make this happen.
Listen up.
I'm sorry,
Stop.
getting really I'm treating you like I'd be calling your fight right now, Abner.
Mares, I like that. He's trying. Mendez is trying, but that jab from Hitchins is just absolutely just beautiful. I mean, it's touching Mendez, not letting him inside. But again, Mendez, if he wants to get in that hook, he has to move his head. He has to pressure the faster Hitchins.
And we saw a flash of that hook. That was a really nice punch. It didn't hurt Hitchins, but it's what Mendez has to try and do. The combination punching of Hitchins, I think, is something that you have to like early in this fight.
I'd like to see a little bit of feints maybe from Hitchins.
Good point.
I like what I'm seeing from that jab, that move backwards, side steps, angles. But hey, that feints might work in this fight.
There's a left hook by Mendez trying to rough up Hitchins on the ropes. Hitchins moving forward. Hitchins trying to sit down on those two punches.
You can see Mendez, the way he's moving, is trying to get in position to throw that hook.
There, double one.
Yeah,
let him out.
He wants it. He knows that punch is what he's got to get after, and he saw it land once. He's trying to set it up.
We're in the final minute of this third round where Richardson Hitchins throughout the fight using a superb jab, a lot of footwork, but Mendez now doing what we anticipate going in that he needed to do in order to try to slow down, to disrupt Richardson Hitchins in this fight.
Well, neither man being very busy in this round.
We talk about knockout power. 5 of Hitchins' 11 wins have come inside the distance for Mendez. Has 25 wins, 12 of them have come via form of knockouts. 15 seconds left in the third. Hitchins putting together a couple of right hands. There's a double jab. And now it's Mendez returning fire with 4 left hooks.
Let him out, let him out, let him out. Step back.
All right, Steve Farhood, earlier this evening, heralded amateur turned pro David Navarro stepped into the ring for the second bout of his career against Jason Vera.
Watch this right hand, Mo. There it is. That knockdown scored earlier tonight by the 20-year-old featherweight prospect David Navarro against an overmatched Jason Vera. Navarro's follow-up attack overwhelming, as you can see, and after several unanswered flurries, the bout was stopped at 2:02 of the first round, bringing Navarro to 2-0 with 2 first-round knockouts. He comes from a big boxing family. His uncle, Jose Navarro, was a 2000 Olympian, and this Navarro won multiple amateur titles Mendez is a junior. He is a prospect to watch, and I'm watching.
Navarro closed the show before we started the show, and yeah, we're on Showtime Special Edition, the Fight Sphere at Mohegan Sun, and you're watching our second fight of the night. It is a battle contested in the 140-pound division. 23-year-old undefeated prospect to watch, Richardson Hitchins, against a former champion in the 34-year-old Argenis Mendez. 4 rounds. Well, the 4th round begins now, again scheduled for 10.
And, you know, I thought that 3rd round was interesting because it started to kind of pick up the pace of this fight from Mendez's standpoint a little bit, and we'll see how it develops now, and if it, you know, if we can see spurts of action like that.
Keep it down.
Muay Thai elbow delivered by Hitchins. Wrong sport. There's a 1-2 over the top, well, the jab and then the right hand over the top by Hitchins. Mendez trying to maybe drive some of the energy out of Hitchins by targeting the body with the jab.
Yes, that's something you definitely want to do against a mover, a guy against a guy that you know has the footwork. You got to work that body, break him down, and take him into those later rounds.
And now we saw that sharp jab from Hitchins pop Mendez head back, and there it is again.
Yeah, he's really been consistent in using that punch. It's very, you know, that's his personality in the ring, and you have to stick with what you are supposed to be.
Mendez has been down 3 times in his career. Hitchins is yet, well, no, he was knocked down against left-handed Treshawn Wiggins, but it was really a punch slip back in January of 2019.
No punches.
You know, when you look at the power punches, which is everything other than a jab, Mendez with a slight edge, you know, and in that department, he's doing a little bit better. But clearly, in the jab department, Hitchins doing much better than him.
And when you take the resumes into consideration, Abner, you would expect Mendez, I guess, to have a bit of an advantage in the power punch department.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Watch your head, watch your head, watch your head.
Guys against, you know, he fought Anthony Peterson, Juan Heraldez, Ivan Redkach. I mean, he's got through some big names, but today he is against a talented Hitchins that, again, oh my God, that jab is just superb. I mean, something that you know, that when you have a crazy jab, this fast jab like that, you could do basically anything inside the ring.
And some porous defense in the high guard for Mendez as Hitchins able to land that jab at well and put together a nice combination, culminating with a left hook upstairs.
A few moments ago, a nice right hand to the body by Hitchins. And you had mentioned earlier a large percentage of his punches are body shots that he lands, and he threw that punch really well.
Man, there are a couple of battering rams here. There's a danger that things could get ugly the way they're leading, especially Mendez leading with his head at times to try to close the gap, get on the inside on Hitchins, leads with the right hand. We're through 4 rounds here at the Fight Sphere.
Time! Let's go.
Your footwork follows your opponent. You see how you got him confused? You got him confused, all right? All right, right now it's a shutout. We got to keep it going just like that, okay? All right? How you feel? Remember, your footwork follows your opponent. Every time you move, you confuse him. But don't sit in the front of him too long, because he's waiting to get that counter off. Keep stepping, hitting him going, hitting him going. Everything is working.
Everything. 1, 2, 3, and move. 1, 2, 3, and move.
Okay? All right, you're looking good. He's getting frustrated.
Henny, but at the same time, go to that body first. Every time he's near the ropes, he's dropping below the waist height and spinning out. Not just the one shot. You need to put your shots together, okay? Hey, put them shots together, okay? Be strong and consistent. Come on, let your hands go off the jab.
Round number 5. Mendez, the first former champ that Hitchins has faced as a pro, and Mendez hasn't lost since dropping a 12-round decision to Luke Campbell in July of 2016. But here, going into the 5th round, the boxing skills of Richardson Hitchins have been on full display, led by that jab.
And in that fight with Campbell, Mendez was able to drop him with an overhand right. So he does have power in the right hand as well as the hook if he can get that punch home.
Nice jab, right hand, and there Hitchins scoring with the jab and putting together some crafty combinations, Abner.
Great combinations from Hitchins. I like the way when he finishes, he doesn't give Mendez the position. He doesn't give him the gap for him to throw his punches. He gets in really close to close the gap. Oh, there it is, that feint I've been asking for from Hitchins.
And Hitchins delivered a short right uppercut on the inside.
Yeah, that's not a punch I really saw in any of the video of him, and he mixed that in very nicely there.
We've seen
watch your heads, fellas. Watch your heads.
Highlight uppercut KOs this year in the truncated year for boxing, including Gervonta Davis KO of the year against the double tough Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, that's the punch. The uppercut has been the punch of the year in terms of people landing big ones.
Back. Step back, step back, step back. Let's go.
Just past the midpoint of the 5th round.
And Hitchins has a good uppercut. He's got a nice right short uppercut that he's thrown it a few times. I've seen it here and there, but I think he should throw a little bit more since Mendez leans forward and down. Right. That'll be really effective.
Quick snapping jab of Hitchins. A right uppercut on the inside. Another right uppercut goes to the body with the right. Mendez counters with a sweeping right hand.
Hey, who doesn't want to listen to Abner Mares when it comes to strategy? You know what I'm saying?
On cue.
Yeah. Nice body work there by Mendez. He wants to do more of that, and he just hasn't been in position to throw those punches. And this has been a very good round for Hitchins.
Been a pretty good fight for the undefeated Hitchins, as we're 30 seconds away from closing the book on the
punches,
first
punches. Let's go.
Of this 140-pound affair. Now, I'm sure Floyd Mayweather, Gervonta Davis watching, probably pretty impressed with Richardson Hitchins, but you know at this stage of his career in the mind of Floyd Mayweather, he's going to be finding things that he already wants to improve for Hitchins, and maybe there's Mendez scoring with a combination to close out the 5th.
Time! That's out the belt. All right, let's go. Come on, get in the corner. Let's go.
Putting that theater education to use, Mr. Hitchins.
You gotta use your feet, man. You gotta have fast feet, not slow feet. Okay. I want fast feet.
All right, so we'll take a look at some of the combination punching of Hitchins and accentuating the body work. There's a right hand downstairs. And the uppercut, which we've talked about. Not everything landing. Some of those are blocked by Mendez. And later on in the round, we'll get a chance to look at some more. Using the double jab as kind of a rangefinder. No. Are all those punches getting in? No, but a couple of them are, and it's keeping Mendez on his heels so he can't get his offense going. That's Lee Beard in the corner with Mendez.
Touch your right hand, whip the left up, come back up, okay? Good round, come on.
This is round number 6. We begin the second half of this 10-round fight, contested at 140 pounds. Both Mendez and Hitchins started, well, fighting as they entered the double digits of their lifespan, and both, of course, Olympians. But Mendez now at 34, Hitchins at 23. It's Hitchins on the come-up, but Mendez wants to make sure he stays in the hunt.
Step back. No punches. No punches. Stop.
Of evading the right hand at times of Hitchins. He ducks under that punch, but he hasn't been able to counter when he does that.
Let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Farwood. How do you have it after 5 rounds, my friend?
Mo, I have Hitchins 49-46, 4 rounds to 1. You know, it's often a difficult problem for a judge to determine jabs versus power shots. And that's what you're doing here, but it's really not difficult in this fight because the jabs of Hitchins are overwhelming in number and in effect against Mendez, and the power punches, Hitchins not doing bad in that category either. So I think Hitchins is in control. You don't see him pinned against the ropes. You don't see him infighting. These are things that Mendez would like to see. Mendez isn't getting there.
Right. Step back. Let's go.
1-2 from Hitchins, partially blocked by Mendez.
A lot more experience for Mendez, going a longer way in fights.
Let him out,
obviously,
let's go.
as you
Step
would
back,
expect,
step back.
since
Watch your
he's
heads,
the
let him go.
veteran.
Watch your heads.
In his fight with Kevin Johnson, when he went the distance with him, thought he lost focus a little bit. Johnson was able to land some good right hands, and he said that was a big learning experience. So he feels like going into the later rounds, he's going to be sharper.
Keep your elbows down.
Than he was in that fight.
And Hitchins telling us that really, when it comes down to it, that Mendez, nice right uppercut lands by Hitchins, that Mendez is going to be forced to press the attack, trying to make a real rough and tumble affair out of it, because Hitchins says if he tries to box him, it's only so far that Mendez is going to go.
Yeah, you really don't want to take your time or fall asleep with, veterans like Mendez, especially in the later rounds. But Hitchins doing a great job of just outboxing a Mendez with a great jab and really just working different things. I like the hugging right there, the turning, like the feints. I would like to see a little bit more of that and countering on top of it. But overall, Hitchins just a great performance.
Well, there Mendez puts together a three-punch combination, maybe the best combination of the fight for the veteran. In the final seconds of the sixth, and pronates that right hand, and Hitchins comes back with a right, and again they clinch.
Time. All right, let's go. Come on. You're both clashing heads.
Good. Listen, don't wait on it, okay? Put your hands down. Don't wait on it.
Some good action sequences in that last round, starting with this one, in which Hitchins uses the jab to set up the straight right hand. That was a right hand that Mendez couldn't get under. And while he missed there, Mendez, who we said is a natural counterpuncher, lands a nice right hand. And toward the end of the round, Mendez was able to get Hitchins on the ropes and throw some combinations. And again, the body work getting there. When Hitchins has been against the ropes, it's created a little bit of a problem for him from time to time, but of course Mendez hasn't done that quite enough. But Mendez did not have a bad round in round 5.
Especially in the final.
Round 6, I mean.
Yeah, final few seconds, landing some combinations along the ropes. And Abner, as we begin round 7, we've seen Hitchins try to lure Mendez along the ropes and sometimes put himself in the corner. Can you elucidate on what you think he's going through there as he eats that right hand from Mendez?
Well, it's going to happen, especially, knowing that he's not a power puncher. So he's not always going to have respect from the opponent based on that. But when you have a nice jab like he does, you want to double up on that, get the respect with the right hand, and then, turn him. But he's always going to find himself on the ropes, here and there, talking about Hitchins. But until now, I think he's doing a great job of just turning Mendez.
And now, our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhood, gave Mendez the last round, and he wants to try to build on the momentum, walking down Hitchins, but now trying to rough him up to the body, goes upstairs with a short left hook.
And he's being more active on the inside. In his last fight against Heraldez, Mendez came on very strong in rounds 9 and 10. Now, whether he's going to even be in a position to have that make a difference, that's a question. But we can see him building a little momentum here in this fight.
Watch your elbow. Turn around. Let's go.
And again, Hitchins moving back slightly and then delivers the jab, misses with that sweeping left hook, giving Mendez a potential
let's go.
opening, but Mendez didn't capitalize on the counter.
Hitchins is not by nature, the left hook doesn't come naturally to him, but that does. The jab and the straight right hand is really his bread and butter.
And he does land and throw around the 140-pound average for total punches, does Richardson Hitchins. Sparred with Terrence Crawford at the age of 17. Of course, we talked about his sparring with Tank Davis. And again, only 23 years of age.
Also sparred with Devin Haney.
Yes.
A bit. So,
Step back. No punches.
He's been in the ring with, and that's invaluable experience.
He told us the man who's influenced him the most, no surprise, his promoter Floyd Mayweather, his whole style, the way he approaches boxing, in and out of the ring, the biggest motivation.
Let's
go. And he says this is the Mayweather generation. generation. Well, he'd like to make it the Richardson Hitchins generation. 30 seconds left in the 7th.
Hitchins has only thrown 23 punches in this round, so he's been not very active.
Trying to uncoil like a cobra with that venomous jab, but you're right. Pace is abated for Hitchins, and maybe just
Let him out, let him out, let him out.
taking a bit of a break before he tries to put the pedal to the metal in the final 3 rounds of this 10-round contest.
When you want it inside, don't let him get off. Bop, 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 boom, get out. Okay? All right? Don't wait too long for him, son. Okay? You're doing good. Now start doubling, tripling up with that jab. Okay? Doubling and tripling up with that jab. And don't sit in front of him too
Early in
long.
the
I keep telling
round,
you.
Mendez was able to get
Don't
a right hand home, using the jab to double jab to set up the right hand. We haven't seen that jab work from Mendez very much. And then later on in the round, the combination punching of Hitchins, using the excellent jab. The right didn't get in perfectly, but they're getting in. You could see those punches didn't land with huge power, but that's the kind of combination punching he's done well.
Don't change up your fight game, yo.
Don't change up your fight game. Words for Richardson Hitchins as we begin round 8. Hitchins in the, well, flashy trunks, black and purple, while Mendez getting ambushed there along the ropes. He's in the black with white, red, and green, and we will more flash coming up from Hitchins' lifelong friend Chris Colbert in the main event, but Hitchins starting very well here in round 8, Al.
Very big, impressive. He wanted to come out and make a statement in this round and landed some terrific combinations. So he's trying to punctuate what so far has been a good performance for him, but there have been a few rounds where Mendez obviously has been effective.
Sorry, Abner. Go ahead, please. No, please.
I honestly believe that in that last 7th round, Hitchins landed the more cleaner punches. Yes, Mendez was the aggressor. He maybe got a few body shots on the ropes, but again, Hitchins is exposed for that at times because he will stay on the ropes. But it's always that long range, that jab, that right hand, that 1-2-3 combination from Hitchins that is going to give him the points.
Of course, Al, part of your Hall of Fame career is you know how to break down tape, you know how to study tape. Anything that Hitchins is doing that is surprising you in this fight?
Not really. You know, he's using his jab very effectively and combinations. And speaking of jabs, let's take a look at the jabs landed according to show stats per round, and you can see what a difference it is. You know, he has just dominated with the jab, and the only time we saw the jab really good from Mendez was that replay we saw where he used a double jab to set up the right hand, but Hitchins' jab is just so effective for him.
That score when it comes to jabs going to be covered by the crew on Inside the NFL. That's a football score we just saw.
Yeah, really.
Under a minute left here in the 8th, and Mendez firing back, but Hitchins very comfortable behind that jab, and he's chewing up real estate, trying to, there, beautiful counter right down the middle, and that knocked Mendez off balance momentarily.
And you know, the first minute of this round, which was so effective for Hitchins, almost guarantees him winning the round based on his movement and how well he can do defensively.
Beautiful 1-2 combination, a stiff combo there by Hitchins, and he's starting to put together some of these power shots, Abner.
Al, and to, you know, comment back on what you said, I think it's like you mentioned, it's Mendez' fault, you know. He gets comfortable. Despite him not being tired, he just wants to lay on the ropes and let Hitchins, you know, throw his combination. So if he lost this round, it's Mendez' own fault.
Still to come tonight in our main event, Richardson Hitchins, a good buddy, going from all the way back where they began their career at the same time in the same New York City gym. It's Chris Colbert. He says it's going to be prime time on Showtime, and well, he is ready for a prime time spot, undefeated, as confident as they come, and he is definitely looking to make the most of, well, what is the biggest test in his still burgeoning career, and he will face in Jaime Arboleda, a knockout puncher. 16 and only 1 defeat, 13 wins via form of knockout. He knows that Chris Colbert has been taking the headlines, but he says the best way to shut him up is to knock him out. That's your main event coming up, and it will go down at 130 pounds. Meanwhile, this is round 9, scheduled for 10 at 140 pounds. And while Argenis Mendez has shown glimpses of his pressure tactics and had a few combinations that have scored, it has mainly been the Richardson Hitchins show, and it's been purely based on what we knew about him, that he is a practitioner of the sweet science at the highest level.
Let him out, let him out. Don't fight out. No. Listen up, listen up.
Mike, I didn't say break.
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Don't say another word.
He was about to be sent to his room.
Hitchins is right, though. He didn't say break. But again, the referee always has. He's always right.
He's going to win every argument.
Yes.
I think that's called no nonsense.
Break. Step back. Let's go.
The opening minute of the 9th round has elapsed, and Hitchins wanting to counter Mendez. Mendez taking short steps, and then Hitchins disrupts his timing with that jab.
You know, I said at the beginning that, or earlier, that the left hook is not primary weapon for Hitchins. But there are times when he mixes that in as a very effective part of his combination punching, and I suspect that's something they're continuing to work on to improve that as he moves up against a higher level opposition.
Yeah, I asked the question at the beginning of the fight, and I think you guys even alluded to it. Is Mendez the perfect step-up opponent? Because he's not always the most aggressive or busiest, and we are seeing that play out here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, in terms of who's throwing the most punches and landing them, you see Hitchins with an edge, not a monstrous edge in terms of what's thrown, but a bigger edge in what is landing. He's landing at about 34%.
No punches.
According to show stats.
And yeah, it's not like it's been an offensive onslaught by Hitchins, but Abner, again, he's all about being, hitting and not being hit.
Exactly. I mean, again, going back to that, it's boxing. It's a contact sport. He's gonna get hit here and there, especially when he lays on the rope. But right now, this 9th round, he's showing us a boxing clinic. He's boxing really well.
Step back.
Again, the jab. I don't know how many times he throws it in the gym.
Watch the elbows.
In the bag, but
come on, turn around.
It's just a great jab. Really rare to see in a fighter.
And Hitchins, a graduate, we call this graduation day. He's graduated from the terrific Showbox series where he appeared 4 times. So another prospective champion. It's been over 80 fighters to come from Showbox to win championships as we end round 9.
Time! All right, let's go.
Give me some 3 deep breaths. Suck it up. 1, come on. 2, come on. 3, come on.
I don't know if it was enough to win that round, but Mendez closed the round kind of well. Again, using the jab, and he lands the right. When he jabs, it helps him get that right hand, and he just doesn't do it that much.
Deep breath. Yeah, come on. Suck it up, man. Come on. Don't sit there, feel sorry for yourself. Look, pick it up, okay? Let your hands go, okay? You're catching him. When you catch him, follow it up, right? Don't just do one, 2 nice shots and then just wait on him. Do you know what I mean? Go and go again. Last round.
Okay. Africa, box.
Put up numbers, baby.
Box.
Put up numbers, box.
All right, don't worry about the listen. Just keep fighting, okay?
Let's go.
All right, stay calm, okay? T.
Come here. All right, keep it clean,
Not so
fellas.
much
Let's go.
stay
Last
calm
round.
and carry on, but as we begin the 10th and final round, Richardson Hitchins, who is comprehensively outboxed
Let him out.
Argenis Mendez, but again has shown, as you and Abner have mentioned, you know, these are the kinds of tests he has to pass on his way to what he hopes is championship glory.
Watch the holding.
Yes, these are the fighters that he has to go through, you know, to Mendez, the guys that, you know, have a lot of experience have been in the ring with, you know, tougher positions. But at the same time, I want something I want to mention is that probably, I'm almost 100% certain that Mendez is going to do what he had to do the entire fight, which is pressure, and he's going to let his hands go, even more. Why? I don't know.
Let him out,
they
let him
always
out, let him
wait
out.
for the last round
Hold
to
on,
do it.
stop.
Yeah, you know.
Clean it up, knock it off. Watch the headlocks. Let's go. Let's go.
That was a side headlock.
Yeah.
And we look at the punches, headshots landed as opposed to body shots.
Mendez landing body shot.
Yeah, as we spoke,
hit.
and Hitchins with the edge to the head, obviously, a lot of those courtesy of the jabs. You know, Richardson Hitchins has fought very well in this fight. I think, though, this fight demonstrates that he's more than a couple fights away from a world championship. And I don't mean that to denigrate him or criticize him. He's probably developing right where he's supposed to. But, you know, you talked about somebody like Mario Barrios, people like that.
No punches, step back. Let's go. Let him out, let him out, let him out, let him out, let him out.
He's not quite there yet.
What's the biggest improvement you would like to see Hitchins make after moving forward? Every style, every fight is different, mind you, but...
Right. I think the pulling back, he pulls back a little bit too much with his head back.
Watch the elbow. Stop.
Mendez has
Watch the
done that
elbows.
right
Don't
hand.
use your elbows.
And timing the right hand. Mendez he throws that jab, jab, right hand. No, it's going to come. Move to the side instead of pulling
back.
back.
Stop the holding, guys.
And Hitchins,
last round,
of course,
come on, let's go.
mentor Floyd Mayweather, known for that pull counter with the right hand. But again, Floyd Mayweather started boxing at the age of 4.
Step back. Let's go. Come on.
Yes, not anyone can.
And you know, having said all that, they'll be happy with the performance of Hit, unless something crazy happens in the last 45 seconds. I think they'll probably look at this tape and be happy with what he's done for the most part, as they should.
There's a double jab splitting the guard of Mendez. Mendez trying to use some movement, but slower, trying again just to rough up
Come on.
Hitchins. Under 30 seconds now left as it appears Richardson Hitchins well on his way to winning his 12th professional fight on 12-12 as we head into the final.
Step back, let's go.
10 seconds. Well, Mendez trying to fight until the final bell. But I believe it is indeed a graduation day for Hitchins, and he has passed with colors. Were they flying colors, Abner?
I liked it. I thought so. I thought it was good. There's always room for improvement.
And we are assuming, of course, that he was ahead at the end, and I would think he probably
You're
would
absolutely right, Al. I forget that this is professional boxing.
Every once in a while, we get surprised just a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
But we are assuming that he probably won this decision. You know, for Mendez, as you look at him and against that man, Mr. Hitchins, you know, Mendez had his moments in this fight, and as they showed some good sportsmanship, but they weren't enough, and I don't think. And the activity of Hitchins was the main thing. And let's take a look back at the keys to victory, and we'll pick out one of them. We pointed out that he needed to establish a jab. Well, boy, did he do that. I mean, he just used that punch, and there you see him using it to land the straight right hand, and that, of course, is impressive. And then doubling up with the jab, and, of course, he comes with the right behind it. So you can see this is what Hitchins does so well. You know, he's just great when he's in this posture, and he can use the jab, and he's not afraid to double with it. He also comes with the right hand behind it. So what you're seeing here is this fight in microcosm, and the jab was so important. And the overall numbers, interestingly, Mendez ended up throwing a few more punches than him, but Hitchins more effective in landing. And when you look at the jabs, he threw 198, and those 57 he landed, we saw evidence of that. Many of those power punches were the right hands.
Well, you're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action here at the Mohegan Sun Arena, we go to the scorecards. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Don Ackerman scores about 97 to 93 in favor of Argenis Mendez. Judge at ringside, Steve Weisfeld sees it 98 to 92 in favor of Richardson Hitchins. And judge at ringside, Glenn Feldman scores the action 99 to 91 in favor of the winner by split decision, and still undefeated, Richardson Hitchins.
Al, remind me never to make a conclusive statement about scores. Or I'll stick to the play-by-play, but Hitchins does win via split decision, improving to 12-0. And for Argenis Mendez at 34, you wonder if this might be the end of the road in terms of being in the hunt for a title, as he drops to 25-6-3 with one no decision. But Hitchins beats the toughest opponent of his career, and let's bring our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhood. The judges were split.
Not only were they split, Mo, but they were very split. I mean, Glenn Feldman had this 9 rounds to 1 for Hitchins, and you see that Don Ackerman actually scored the fight for Mendez. Totally disagree with that score. As we look at my card, I had it 97-93. I did give Mendez 3 rounds, 1 out of every 3, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th. Toward the end, certainly Hitchins was holding a lot, and maybe that's why Ackerman scored the way he did. But we go back to the official cards. The judges agreed, interestingly, on only 3 of the 10 rounds. Weisfeld 98-92, Feldman 99-91. That's a little bit more how we saw the fight. Nonetheless, the judges ultimately got it right. At least 2 out of the 3 of them did.